it is all too common to be lumped into this idea of, like, oh, they have commitment issues, they don't want to be tied down, they're not looking for this, that, and the third. Having some partners say, like, oh, my boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner just they don't want to commit, they don't want to be in this for the long haul, they don't want to put a ring on it, they don't want that. But like, some people have different love languages. What's up, peoples? It's your bartenders, Mr. Z.
And your boy, Omega.
Omega and I are excited to welcome y'all back as we discuss commitments, marriage, and the larger topic, commitment issues, how our commitment styles have evolved, and where their roots lie. As every episode, we want to thank all of you for listening. We truly appreciate you listening to our hearts and minds on varied and difficult topics.
Special thank you goes out to our Patreon subscribers for their support of the show. Every little bit helps us reach our goals to invite more high-profile guests and create bonus content.
And if you want to join in our conversation outside of this cast, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at HaveADrinkCast, and make sure to use that hashtag HadCast.
Remember, this is always a conversation. If you don't agree, you want to voice your opinions, or even suggest a topic for an episode, feel free to join our Discord as well. The link will be in the description.
And please, if you like what we're doing here, share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Hey, sample our shows into a Hadcast song. I mean, you hear this beat, right? Your referrals mean a lot to us, as that's how we gain more listeners. So,
thank you again.
And get prepared to sit,
think,
and have a drink.
Welcome to Have a Drink Podcast. Enjoy the episode.
We said, peace. What's up, peoples, and welcome back to another episode of the Have a Drink Podcast, where we invite you to sit, think, and have a drink. We're your bartenders, Mr. Z.
And I'm your boy, Omega.
Hey. Hey, all right. And I'm just hanging in there. Back in my cloffice. Back in...
The cloffice, I like that. I am back on the road again. I am in Connecticut. Back with the Bellator 262. Pretty excited.
Hey, super fun. I see you.
You know it.
See you repping that gear.
Yeah, you know. And when this airs, it's actually fight night. So if this airs on Friday like it's supposed to be, it's fight night. So pretty excited about it. It's going to be some great fights tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Sweet. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about commitments. I wanted us to dive into the conversation surrounding, like commitments, marriage, commitment issues, like the whole gambit. Cause like, it's something that I think we don't really discuss much. I know we all talk about our different relationships, but, we never really talk about what it took for us to get there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because I remember growing up and hearing many young women say, like, oh, all men or, lover boys or what have you, they have commitment issues, or, they'll never commit to one person, or, all of these things, these tropes, these frames that we're set in. But I mean, when I've thought about it in different relationships that I've been in and that I've not wanted to stay in, I've often found myself questioning, like, do I have commitment issues? Do I have an issue with commitment? Because it's really confusing sometimes when you're faced with something that is being told to you or brought to you from the outside, and it's causing you to reflect inwards, because you then don't know, is this just something being imposed upon me by someone outside, or is this something that like I actually do resonate with? or that like I'm seeing that needs to be corrected or what have you. I just kind of I want to start our conversation there. So let's talk a little bit about commitment. I'm kind of curious as to what your experience with commitment was like, growing up, and I mean, you talk about being married, having a wife, having kids, and like I know Omega's undying loyalty, and I've seen it in full action and whatnot. So I mean, but I'm kind of curious as to like what your relationship was like with it, getting up to the point where you're at now today.
Struggle fest. Because it is funny. I say this because I haven't thought about this in forever, right? So what I used to do when I was younger, before I was allowed to have girlfriends, I would have a little girlfriend, whatever, somebody I liked, somebody I was trying to hang out with, talk to. And if I got bored or if I just lost interest, I'd be like, oh, my mom found out I had a girlfriend. I have to break up. Easy. You can't fight it. You can't. What can you say?
Right. You're not going to argue with mama.
You can't, right? And then as I got older and I was able to date, I had a hard time finding a girlfriend and keeping one. And it wasn't from me wanting to break up. It was just they would break up with me for whatever reason. It could be, I don't know. They would just break up with me. So for a long time, I didn't really have a real girlfriend. Like, by God's honest truth, the longest girlfriend I ever had outside of my marriage was second grade. I was with a young girl for 6 months. And I know everybody's like, "What? How can you have a girlfriend in second grade? You don't even know what a girlfriend is." Well, she called me her boyfriend and she broke up with me. I'll never forget it because she was like, she yelled at me in the middle of class saying, "You don't support me." I was like, "What does support mean? What is that?" Right. And I told my sister this, and she's like, "You're in second grade. You don't even know what that means." Like, I know. That's what she said. I don't know what that means. So it's just, it's just weird. But just reflecting back on it, it's like I didn't have very many girlfriends. I had girls that were friends. I had girls that I dated. I had girls that I would see, but I didn't really have real relationships. So when it came to knowing what a real relationship was, I wouldn't really know how to be in it, especially long term, because they didn't last that long. Things were different. Post my father's pre-illness, during the illness, post-death. So before the illness, things were kind of cool. Like I said, didn't really have very many solid relationships. I found someone that I was into, but she broke up with me because she felt like I was trying to hide her, but I was trying to protect the relationship because I didn't want people to ruin it in high school. And she broke up with me. And that closure didn't sit well with me for a very long time still. And then I had a girl I was seeing who I ended up going to my senior prom with while my dad was ill. And we were together, but I was mentally and emotionally not ready to be in a relationship because I was processing the inevitable of my dad's going to pass away soon. So I was clinging to somebody or something physically, trying to get that physical love to cover up that emotional hurt I was going through. So that's what I was doing. And I realized that now, and I felt so bad. Actually, I needed to apologize to her about that. And I did, I'm sorry about that. And then post my father's passing, I went into an emotional spiral. And I realized that because I had some very great women in my life throughout the couple years before I met my wife, and I messed up some relationships, because I never really emotionally dealt with my father's passing. So it was messing up my relationships where they were committed to me, they were into me, but I was too emotionally immature and hurt, and it was really bad. And I like some really great women that I was seeing, but I just was not ready for them. And I was not able to face my fears of I felt alone. And I didn't realize that. I felt physically alone, emotionally alone. So I was clinging at everything. And that's when me and my boys, who are my best friends right now, that I met in college, were so close. You know, they really hung to me like tight. So that was post my father's passing. So that was after my father passed. Then I figured out, then I was dating a young lady who I was really into. Now this is where it's going to get trippy. Young lady who I really I didn't realize it, but I fell for her. I was introduced to her by a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, not realizing he was introducing her to me as his lady. I heard his friend. So I didn't comprehend that this was his girl.
Oh.
Like his lady. I didn't comprehend that. I met her in the middle of the nightclub and he introduced her to me. I didn't comprehend that. And we had gone back for years, didn't realize this. Fast forward some time, we started seeing each other. And I forgot who introduced me to her. I just remember her. So we started seeing each other. Now, mind you, I never realized that he introduced, she even made it sound like they were just friends. Not like they were in a real relationship. So he introduced her to me like that. But I heard friend, not girlfriend, but my friend. She played it off like he was just a friend. We dated. He found out. He got angry. He cut me off. We're no longer friends. I couldn't understand for the life of me why. She played with my heart like crazy. And I say like crazy, like I really was into her. My boys will all tell you she was always around. She was a chick. And then I distinctively remember I was traveling a lot for the demo team and I had to leave. And she's like, I can't be alone. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I can't be alone. I have to be with somebody. I was like, I'm only going to be gone for the weekend. She's like, well, I'm going to have somebody over. Whether it's a guy or a girl, I'm going to have somebody over. And I was like, and this is the first time I got introduced to bisexual women.
Mm.
And she was like watching the L Word. Like this is how she was like getting me into it. Like she was like watching the L Word with me and stuff like that. I was like, okay, what is this L Word? Didn't get it. So I watched it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fast forward some year, like a year or so later, we're dating. I find we're dating. I get hurt. I hurt my back. She comes over. She stays a few days with me to take care of me because I can't move. I'm 21 with a thrown out back. So, 21-year-old, what do you think I'm trying to do? What do you think she's trying to do? Because we did a lot of that. Well, come to find out, I don't know, but we did. And the next thing I know, she's gone. And when I say she's gone, I've never been ghosted in my life like that.
What?
She ghosted me. Broke my fucking heart.
Oof.
Then I started seeing my wife. Who's my wife now? I started dating mine. Who's my wife now? And then went on a date. We were chilling. Like we were getting like pretty serious. And then I'll never forget it. I got a message that said, I need to talk to you. And I was like, who is this? So I called it and it was her. And I was like, yo, like what's going on? Not her, like my girlfriend, no, not my wife, but it was the girl that I was seeing previously. She's like, I was like, that's who I got the message from. And I called her back and I was like, yo, what's going on? And she's like, this is her friend. She has something she needs to tell you. And she doesn't know I'm calling you, but I'm just letting you know she has to talk to you. And I feel like you need to know. I'm like, okay. And I was like, but she's been gone. She's like, I know, but you need to talk to her. She gets on the phone. She says, I have to say something. I have to tell you something. And I was like, you're pregnant. And she said, how did you know? I said, because you just told me right now.
Gotcha.
You
just told me.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, so why did you leave me? She's like, you have your whole life ahead of you. You have so many things you want to do with your life. I don't want to stop that. So I'd rather just go ahead and have this baby without you. I'm like, why would you tell me that? Why would you pull me out? And that right there messed me up. Because she could never say I'm pregnant. She would be like, I'm prego. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. I'm prego. You sound like spaghetti sauce. You just say you're pregnant, And she's like, I can already tell we're gonna have legal issues. I was like, well, what the hell are you talking about? You just told me you're pregnant. You're only like a few months, like 4 months pregnant. Why are you saying this? Now, mind you, I was still dating my wife at the time, and I had to come clean and tell her and be honest with her. I was like, look, there's a girl I was seeing before you. She's pregnant. So I need to handle this. I'm sorry. I hope this doesn't mess up things too bad with us, but I have to handle this. A bunch of conversations happened between me and the pregnant one. Fast forward a couple weeks. She's like, I see we're going to have legal issues. I said, why would we have legal issues? You just told me you're pregnant. I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes. Do I need to marry you? Do I need to, what do I need to do? This is my child. Like, well, I'm going to do this. She's like, no, I'm going to abort the baby. I was like, no. I was like, we can do this. And then at first I was like, well, yeah, I mean, you're young. You got too many things. You got so many things. I'm like, this is what's going through my head. You're young. You got a lot of things going on for you. Your dance is taking off. You're doing so much with your martial arts. I was like, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe you should. And I was like, nah, I don't think so. My mom, she was like, if you abort my grandchild, because she talked to her, and my mom told me, and I quote, if you abort my grandchild, I'll never forgive you. That also messed me up, because now it's like, whatever I say, it doesn't matter. It's like somebody's going to be mad at me. And I'm like, I talked to her and I'm like, we can do this. And she's like, no. So what did I do? The only thing I had control of, I was like, okay, I'll take you. Because the only thing I could do was be there in hopes that maybe all the way up until we go there, she may change her mind. No. Sat at the clinic, took her home, I laid with her, stayed with her with the bear that she had. That really messed me up. So with that having been said, like I had just lost my first child. And I didn't even really have any time to enjoy the fact that my girl that I was seeing was pregnant because of the way she told me and then what she ended up saying to me, and my mom telling me this. So I had to tell my mom what happened. She's even, I don't think I have it anymore, but she even had the sonogram picture of the child. So I decided to move to LA. And I was like, I'm going to move. So I decided to, so I didn't move for like another year or so. And I started seeing my wife again. And before I left, I was like, I tried to break up with my wife, and I did. And she drove me down. She helped me move. We were cool. And then I know I made a mistake. That's who I need to be with. And the reason why I said all that, and we're talking about commitment issues, is because it's like there were so many ebbs and flows in relationships. And every time I tried to cling, something would take away. Something would pull away. If I tried to do what I thought was right, it was always seen or deemed to be wrong, or something tragic would happen. So I just didn't know. But I knew one thing. When she was pregnant was I wanted to be a father. So when I seen my daughter, who's my daughter now, when I seen her, she was my student at the time, I clung to her like I knew I was going to have a girl. There's this little girl. She's perfect. She's everything. I was like, man, I could, and I don't know why, I just fell in love with her. For her mother, I fell in love with her. And I was like, I want to be her dad. 14 years later, I'm her dad still. You know.
I got you now.
Right. But going through all those things, like trying to have relationships, trying to see people, trying to do something, it was just always felt wrong. And I tried my best to do what I thought was right, but my emotions were not there yet because there were so many drastic things happening in my life. Right.
Of course.
So yeah, it was a difficult thing to process. And that just kind of, throughout all those times, it's like I tried to be with somebody, but something would kind of get in the way and prevent me. And I always seemed to figure a way to put it on them when I was really deflecting my own feelings and insecurities about my own emotional immaturity onto them. I was projecting my emotional immaturity onto them. And then probably self-sabotaging my relationship.
So forgive me if you answered this already. What was the turning point for you to want to dive into that commitment?
Of which commitment?
It like the commitment of marriage. Let's just throw like that.
My daughter.
Your daughter? Like out of all of your choices in life, all of the things you could have gotten into, all the people you could have married, you know, you just sharing the story of, you know, of someone you could have very well gotten into that kind of relationship with. So what did you have that feeling, that level of feeling before? or was when that moment that you saw, you know, your daughter, and the moment like you actually made that decision, was that a different feeling compared to the other ones that you've experienced of like, oh, let's get married?
Well, I will say I seen me in her, and I wanted to be the change that she needed. And I say that because I was like, this is what I need. I needed somebody to step up, take charge, and be the man in my life, be the one to raise me and show me right from wrong and be that solid rock, that thing. I needed someone to be in my home and show me unconditional love and be there for me. I needed somebody to hug me and tell me they love me and show me that they love me. I needed somebody to really let me know that I was theirs. I needed somebody to want to spend time with me, and me, not we, not me and a bunch of other people, not other people.
Well, not the idea of me.
Yeah. Or, you know, it's like if I ask, I want to go camping, can we go here and do this? Your response isn't, I got too many kids, I can't, you know, and I get it. That's not, I understand my father was just being responsible in his own way. And I'm not saying anything wrong about my own siblings, because I love my siblings to pieces. They're like the best. I love them. But for me specifically, because I felt alone. And that's the crazy part. It's like my younger siblings, they were twins, so they had each other. And then my stepbrothers, they all shared a mom, and they all lived in the same house together. My older brother and my two older sisters all were together. And so my stepbrother would be here. So this is me, right? This is me.
Right.
Right. And then you have my eldest brother, Maurice, who in a sense clung to me, but he's 15 years older.
Right.
So he's really not home.
Right.
So he was really me. So it was like, I wanted that attention. I needed this, that, and third. And I felt that when I looked at my kid, because like her dad was like around, but he wasn't around, you know, and I fell in love with her, and I wanted to be her father. I wanted to be that man in her life. And it's crazy because I was so young with that mindset. I was like 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. I think I said I was 21 earlier when I said I hurt my back. I forgot I was younger than I was like 19 when I hurt my back. Yeah, I was 19. And then when dating my wife, it also made me think about it. I was like, somebody else was hurting this whole time, was crying, was hurt. And I remember that was my mom. My mom was crying. My mom was hurt. Why? Because she lost in her words, the love of her life. And I remember those crying, and I could, even though she may not have ever done that, in my mind, my wife was hurting too, because she was alone. She had that void. She was raising a daughter by herself. And I was like, this is one of the strongest women I've ever met. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's talented. She's gifted. Like, she's so amazing. She's all these things. And I'm like, and you raising this little girl who's a carbon copy of you, and you just embody excellence. I'm like, so the only way I could ever be a father to somebody like that is I have to find a woman that is that. And that's who she was. My wife was that woman, because when I said she helped me move to LA, we were broken up. The connection I have with my kid, and then the fact that I didn't desire any other women when I was living in LA. I was like, in the thought process, I was like, you don't take sand to a beach. Why would I have a girlfriend? I just moved down here. Stupid. I had opportunity and I never took any, because she was all I wanted. So much so to where my boy chumped me out when I was drunk. And that's when he was like, if you like her, if you love her so much, why don't you marry her? I was like, I would. He's like, call her right now and ask her. I said, okay. And I was in Arizona, Cottonwood, Arizona. And I called her. I was like, yo, would you marry me if I asked you? Would you marry me? She's like, yes. I was like, all right. She's like, are you asking? I was like, yeah. She's like, okay. And I woke up the next morning like, what the hell did I just do? Did I just propose to her over the phone? Yep. I did a drunk proposal. Trash. Yes, everybody. Trash proposal. Trash.
No, I feel like it has its own quality to it. Um,
That's my partner, my friend, my brother being so kind to me.
I love you, brother. Thank you for sharing that, man. So what really sparked all of this, this conversation, this thought process was, the combination of me thinking on the past and whatnot, of which I'll get to in a moment, but as well as I was listening to another, I guess it was a YouTube channel called Black Love, and they had a men's round table, and they kind of started talking about commitment issues. The episode was pretty bite sized. It was probably like maybe 7 minutes long, and I just it just popped up on my feed, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting way of thinking. It got me down the rabbit hole of, when thinking in depth about commitment issues and what is the root of it, because that being a theme here, I always tried to find the root of certain quote issues, but like, things that have room for improvement. I'll back up and talk a little bit about my experience with it growing up. Like I said earlier, of having the people, the young women who have asked me, like, oh, you don't, you probably are, you have commitment issues. You don't want to be in a relationship, et cetera, et cetera. No, like getting into the world of dating and whatnot when I got to college and really trying to do that same thing of just, explore my life. You went to LA, like, I didn't want to bring sand to a beach. I went to college and I was like, oh, all right. And I had this like weird feeling of like, I didn't want to be tied down in that moment because I wanted to explore. I wanted to know, that's what everyone says is, you don't go into the two things you don't do is, so you don't go into college with a partner and you don't go into college at your lowest weight, and expect to keep them. And so,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, so my mindset at the time, like I remember talking to different people, experimenting with different people, exploring, just adventuring in different ways, and when it came time for like people who really wanted to like be in a relationship, it was always the people I wanted to be in a relationship that would not be conducive for my relationship style, A, and B, not be good for, the commitment issues that I may or may not have had, because it probably added to that. Because kind of thinking about, where that kind of the stuff stems from, it being rooted in fear of failure, of which we've talked about before on this show. Like having that fear that you're going to fail at a relationship, you don't want to be in it. But my idea then was like, if I do this now, I feel like I will be missing out on actually being with the person who I'm meant to be with, because every relationship that I got into, I could see what the future would hold with that individual. I mean, call me arrogant, what have you, but like I could see where our relationship would go. I remember I was dating someone who had a child. She was a single mother, and I remember, we would get together, we would go in. We wouldn't really like go on dates, but I would go over to her house and like, she would have her kid there. We would watch, Walking Dead and all these things. And, we would have, really deep conversations. And then time came where I had to move. And my whole thought there was like, did I want to continue this relationship? Did I want this thing to grow? Because if I did, then that meant that everything that came afterwards would probably not exist without, what I had seen otherwise, me traveling, me doing all these things, being so young at the time. I think I was about 18, maybe 19. I think I was probably 19 years old. all of this stuff happening, maybe 20.
You started with us?
Huh?
Was that when you started with us?
No. So this is completely a story and a relationship I have never talked about. Yeah. So this is a first for many. This is somebody that was before then. But like I remember having that dilemma, that debate within me, because also at the same time, growing up, I always had that same kind of that moral compass within me saying, if no matter what the circumstance was, no matter how it happened, I will always be there for my child. I didn't, not really accounting for other people's children becoming my children as well. And in that case, that relationship hadn't blossomed into that kind of relationship, into that kind of connection, that kind of bond. But I had that moment of like, I was staring down the barrel of the future and what it held. And then also while looking and being like, but this path right here, and I don't know. It felt as if I was looking at a possible detour on my path. And not to say that commitment, relationships, or anything like that is like you're being dragged down. Being in a relationship with a single mother is never like, oh, you'll never have time for yourself. No, it's none of that. It's just, there was more so like, especially with me being so young,
Right.
I had all of these unknowns that I hadn't explored, things that I hadn't really found out about myself internally yet.
Correct.
And what I had known that was, I had to have known it was coming within me, and that I felt like I knew that the individual I was with at the time would not be someone who would be into that, would be ready for it, for anything, So it was just like there was a lot coming, and I knew that this was going to take something different.
Right.
And kind of like going through my whole life, I remember, back up a little bit, in high school being in love with, my very first love, my first love, having that passion of wanting to be together with that person for the rest of my life. Like, that was before discovering more of myself, but like, still I had that same like, yeah, that's the person I want to marry,
Right.
And so that was there, that had existed. But once that relationship ended, it was like it added this shaky foundation, Then came in the self-doubt. Then came in, like curious about like the self-loathing, or not came in, but amplified the self-loathing that probably had existed from other things in my childhood, up until then. Then in comes the commitment issues,
Right.
the fear of failure, the confirmation of failure, like that we start to paint for ourselves, especially after we lose someone that we love so dearly, especially after we lose someone that we love so powerfully, So, I guess for me, the birth of my commitment style and my depth of commitment, kind of came around then, and just has only fluctuated in different directions. I talked about this with like a couple partners within the past, talked about me being a romantic individual. And I remember I used to be so romantic. I think back to my first love. I think about how I used to be so romantic. I used to write poetry. I used to draw pictures. My friend used to write poetry for, he actually, it was funny because before I really knew how to do it, he would write poetry for me. But I would sit there and talk to him, and he would be like, okay, I got you. Okay, hold on. He's like, talk to me. Tell me how you're feeling. And so like, I would tell him how I'm feeling, and he would just write, and he's like, right. He's like, okay, there you go. And then I'd read it. I'm like, yo, this is exactly what I was saying, like what I was feeling. And then I would, like I gave it to her, all these things. And it got me into like writing it myself and getting into understanding that, drawing pictures, doing things, being that. And then that broke. And so then it was like I was putting these pieces of that part of myself together, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do it with this person. That person doesn't like me like that, doesn't like me that much. Then I'm picking up these pieces again, and then I do it to another person. Oh, they were only with me because they were told they had to be. All right. Or that they were told they should date me, because I liked them, and I had asked them out. And so,
Thank you for clarifying that. You see my face.
Of course. I got you. And so, picking up the pieces again. And so like, there was a large ebb and flow, like I found someone who I thought I was going to get to that point, because I got to that point in the relationship before I really found out myself. This was the relationship right before I found myself. And those things, I started doing those things again, and doing like, writing things, or like, filming, putting videos together, all this stuff. And then, like, I saw, what it would look like in the future with them being pregnant, what the idea of kids, what the idea of marriage, all that stuff. And then I started exploring something within myself, and I found something that I had been keeping deep or hidden or what have you, and like that I hadn't really like explored to the fullest, but I really like at all, like in a way that was healthy.
Right.
And so I talked about it with my partner then, and then we ended up splitting, and then that desire for being that level of romantic went away. It just went away, and ensued other relationships. But like, my level of commitment is not it's not now today. I'm at a point right where I feel like where you were saying earlier, like I look at my kids, and like there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. I look at my partner, and like there's nothing I wouldn't do. Like it's been an interesting journey to see the evolution of commitment, especially depending on the outside. Like I said, outside influence going inward. Like it affecting deeply in one way or another.
Right.
I want to go back to something that I said a little bit earlier about the root of commitment issues in general, because I feel all too often as blossoming hormonal individuals, young individuals, it is all too common to be lumped into this idea of, like, oh, they have commitment issues. They don't want to be tied down. They're not looking for this, that, and the third. Having some partners say, like, oh, my boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner just they don't want to commit. They don't want to be in this for the long haul. They don't want to put a ring on it. They don't want that. But like, some people have different, love languages. Call back to an episode that we've talked about that on, but like they have different love languages, so their level of commitment may be the same, but doesn't have the same illustrations as another. So say you can have deep commitment for someone, you can have a deep, life bond, life partnership that doesn't need a material paper in order to, or a paper license in order to define their life bond.
Right.
And then there are some that see marriage as the ultimate level of commitment. then there are some people who just see quite the opposite, like that marriage isn't a badge of how committed you are to the relationship. Some people see the level of commitment in the relationship is defined by, the struggles overcome, the willingness to work as that team, and the love, the true love shared between individuals, and their willingness to love each other as they are.
Right.
Completely as they are.
That's a hard thing too. You say completely as they are.
Oh yeah.
That is a hard thing, because even before, it took me many years after I was married to even find who I am. I didn't know my love language. I didn't know about my emotional maturity. I didn't know that I had mommy issues. There's so many things that I didn't know because I was so used to suppressing it and deflecting it. So, mind you, I got married April 23rd, 2008. I was 22 years old. I was not ready. I say that now, as a 36-year-old man, knowing I was not ready. I lacked that maturity. I lacked that true understanding of what it meant to be a husband. I didn't know what it was to be a husband. I didn't know what it was to be a father. I didn't know what it was to be a family man. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to be and what I thought what it looked like. I just didn't know what it was going to be like. And I say that because I didn't have those real examples in the home. So I didn't see. I only seen them for weekends, and they were chaotic and crazy. So that's on me not truly having that understanding of what it is to be a quote unquote family man or husband, So I was trying to be a married man living with a single mindset. That's what it was. I was a married man with a single mindset because I didn't know how to evolve that and over. I didn't know what it truly meant to be committed to one person, to a family, to a relationship, because I'd never really seen it. I didn't really know what it was. All I saw was what was on TV, which lasted a half an hour or an hour. I didn't see the real struggles and everything. So it really took a lot out of me, and it took us to go to counseling for me to really learn about me. I thought it was just going to teach me about her, but no, it taught me more about me and we. So commitment issues a little bit, but those really came to a head and showed me that I didn't know what it was to be committed, even as a married person. And everybody's got their own way of saying things. Everybody feels like they know. It's easy. You should know. It's easy. You should know. That comes with time. That comes with understanding. That's work experience. Everything is through. It's like a child. It's like a person going to college and they're learning about their career. All they know is theory. They lack work experience. So when you have jobs that say, well, you need to have X amount of years of work experience, how are you going to get that if you're fresh out of college? But that's what you want. You want the young person with the fresh new ideas, but you don't want to take a chance on it because you need experience. They don't have that. Just like I didn't have that. My wife had 2 years of married experience. Although they weren't good years, they were 2 years of married experience. I had none. And I'm trying to step up and do this. So I was making young mistakes, dumb mistakes, immature mistakes. And I was focused on me and not the we. I wanted to be a father. I love the idea of being a father. I wanted to be a father. I love the idea of being a husband. I just didn't know how to be a husband. I didn't know how to be a father. All I thought about and knew how to be was think about me, worry about me, and try to bring them up with me. And I was making some stupid-ish problems and mistakes. And it seemed like I didn't want to be committed. You'd be like, you're married? And that's an issue. Because, yeah, I have the jewelry, but you couldn't tell. But that's because I was also hanging around single people. So how do you live and a real committed relationship around people who lack that commitment.
Well, I mean, then I think then it becomes at the point like is that group or those group of individuals, are they willing to feed the necessary energy towards you to keep you within the boundaries and commitments that you had made? Because I think it then comes down to them. Because if you say you went out with me and like a bunch of like bachelorish dudes, right? And like they're all single and everybody's like, yo, let's go out, let's find people, come with us, right? In that situation, it can be very easy for them to just be like, oh, you know what, forget it, just like, come on, like, it doesn't matter, you guys can just like have some fun and we won't say anything and just explore your life and do your thing, sow your royal oats or what have you.
You didn't say it, that's why I'm laughing.
And so like the opposite being very much, a group of individuals who care about you and care about the commitments that you've made to yourself of, yo, come out with us, like, oh, like, go, let's get some drinks or what have you. Oh, there's a group of girls. Hey, oh, wait right here. Like, or half of us, let's go over there or whatever. Like, like, or even the third option of like, you know what? Forget those girls, man. We just came here to dance.
This show wasn't happening. I'll tell you that right now. But I mean, I can't push that on them because I have to be accountable for my own choices and mistakes. But what I will say is for them, it was, we were all used to hanging out a certain way for so many years.
Right.
And then there's this drastic change. And so it's like, I didn't know how to move with the change. I was just like, hey, I felt like I was going back. It's like a drug addict, when they relapse, they relapse and they really go back because it's what they know, it's what they were used to. So they do the exact things the exact same way. There's no change. And that's what I did. So I'm with my peoples. We go to the same places and we're doing the exact same things. And that was on me. And it's like, I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming me. That was me with my emotional immaturity and not understanding that there is a change.
You touched on something really like it's another one of those root causes, those root feelings, part of that short little snippet I was listening to earlier. They brought that up as well of like, the idea of getting comfortable, the idea being the prevalent idea talking about one individual's experience with marriage or the idea of being in a deeply committed relationship is they ask themselves, like, what if the reason why I haven't reached my full potential is because I haven't found the right person that would help lift me up and actually we find a way to raise each other up and elevate each other so that we can reach our goals, our dreams, our full potential, etc. But the flip side being that, once we get to that spot, like once we get to a place of comfortability, it is very easy to just let go, you don't strive for anymore. There's that fear of comfortability, of losing your ambition, which I think, so this is a long running joke with my team and I, but I abhor unnecessary relationships in shows. It's just because like, I don't see a reason. The only reason why there would be a relationship in a show or a story or what have you is just because people want to see relationships. Or there's certain people that are like, oh, I love the lovey-dovey thing, or they met and they fell in love at first sight. I mean, if that's you, cool. I don't shame you. That's just not me, I don't see the necessity of that, because I feel like there's so many things that tie in with that go along with, like, you know, a level or a form of, you know, unconscious bias surrounding that, or you know, how we represent women in media. Okay, off my soapbox. But you know, there's also that idea of the strength in community, the strength in support. Like, there's that very real connection to that strength that you can gain from your partner, especially if you both are on the same page. You know, not necessarily needing the exact same things, but like on the same page about how you feel about each other, about what each other desires and wants and needs for their life, where the direction each other is going, you know, and what you are willing to do for each other in order to get there.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, so as much as like I'm the person who is very like, unnecessary relationships, you know, there are certain places, certain times where I'm like, I also see the value of that as well, because, like, you know, very much connected to that abhorrence of those in shows. It's very much the, you know, now they're in a relationship or they're being lovey-dovey in the middle of a really stressful situation, you know, like, or a heightened moment, like you can't be running from zombies and all of a sudden you guys are, let's board up the door. Okay. All right. We have a moment. Oh, looking at each other, deep into each other's eyes, their lips part. They get close.
Oh my God.
Why are you doing this right now?
Get out of my face. This ain't the time. This dude trying to kill me.
Right? This ain't the time. You see that they was eating people's brains. Let's go.
I'm too smart for this. I'm too smart for this.
Right. I'm too smart for this. But seriously, you know, there's that idea that, you know, the type of relationships that you can get into, you become comfortable, you become complacent, you become unmotivated, you become no longer willing to strive to be your best. Whereas what I believe and think is that a strong, committed relationship does just the opposite of that. I feel like a strong, committed relationship will inspire you, will inspire both sides to be the best version of themselves in absolutely every single way. They will strive to be the best version of themselves because they see the value in the person that they chose to be with, person that they chose to be with.
True.
You know, they see the value in how their connections might spring forth, you know, this new little star that's born, you know, like a new solar system, a new sun, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Pew, 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 pew.
Boom, boom,
Black
boom.
on business time. Black on business time. It's
What
black
time
on
is it?
business time.
What time is it?
Black on business time. Black on business time. Hey, black on business time. Hey, hey, black on business time. Black on business time. Don't get down with the black on business. What you got with the black on business? Who's got the black on business? What? What's the black on business? B.O.B. 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 All right, black on business time. Today's black owned business that we wanted to highlight is going to be, bam, the Earl Stevens wine. Earl Stevens, the E40 wine collection. Are we reading from the same sheet of music? I was starting to never pull a pistol on the hustle unless I was planning on using it. But I'm just saying right here, you got to try my water. You got to try the E40 water. It's right here, man. I got the Chardonnay. You know what it is. You know what it is, man. I'm just right here. I'm just E40, just rapping this shit out to you, man. I just want to, you know, tell her I'm just down for the bay. I like to make my own wine. You know, I used to be repping that Carlo Rossi. Then one day they mugged me. They mugged me so hard, I just had to get up on my own game. Bam, hit him with my Earl Stevens.
Bang, bang, Chardonnay.
Bang, bang, Chardonnay. Bang, bang, Chardonnay. You see what this wine has done? It's giving you a little taste of E40.
Cody Fonzarelli. Have some of that Chardonnay while you enjoy some meals made by the Goon with the Spoon, who's also E40.
Ooh.
Ooh.
40. Yeah, area.
Bang, bang, Chardonnay.
Bang, bang, Chardonnay. I'm so bad. I came across the collection. I found a couple of them that I'm gonna go back and try out. You know, he has his own rosé out. He has his own sangria. You know, it's all deliciousness, all fruity. You know, overtones in the sangria. It's just palpable. It's delicious. You know, the Chardonnay, so good. So good, so delicious, so smooth. It's not as buttery as I was assuming that it was going to be, but then as I looked back on it, I was like, no, this is very much like an oaky melt in your mouth, a little bit of a butter bomb that goes off, like, because you don't get that like butter right in the beginning, but like as soon as you right in the beginning, get a buttery, man. I love it. He also has a tequila. So I went to my actual local craft store, Concord Craft. They have a wide selection of wine, spirits, beers, ciders, sours, whatever you fancy. They have it. I found E40's pretty hefty selection of wine. Found, like I said, the sangria. Had also his tequila. They also have a Wiz Khalifa's gin and a few other things. Also a few of other of Earl Stevens, but Slurricane had all the E40 Bay Area goods. You know you gotta like it. You know you love it.
Did you see the E40 though? I mean, you really supported. I was like, that Chardonnay's right up your alley, but the Slurricane I don't think is your taste.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind, getting it just to test it out, see what we would mix it with, see what it would be good.
Yeah, definitely test it.
I've never had it, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to taste it, at least try it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That was a great black-owned business. E40 Tequila. Earl Stevens is his wine line, and I'm telling y'all, it's really, really, really good. He's got Moscatos, he's got Chardonnays, he's got red wines. This is not only a black-owned business, he's a black artist, he's an independent. He's employed
black entrepreneur.
He really is. And he's even employed us on a few different projects. So I'm telling you right now, go out there and support the brother. Earl Stevens, a.k.a. E40, a.k.a. 40 Fonzarelli.
A.k.a. 40 Water. Ambassador of the Bay. You know what I'm here repping it. Bang, bang, Chardonnay.
If he's listening, shout out to Droopy.
Hey, shout out to Droopy. Shout out to Mugzilla. Shout out to E40. Yep. Pilo. Love y'all.
Hey.
Got to get in on the game. Sick with it. Oh, we're back. What happened? What? That was crazy. I mean, it'd be even crazier if there was like some type of way we could get like a live studio audience to laugh at all my dumb jokes. Because I mean, who wouldn't laugh at Bang Bang Chardonnay? I know. I'm funny. Thank you.
My God. Did you just play a laugh track?
Hey, I did. Because, Bang Bang Chardonnay is funny, man. So, like, hey, thank you very much. Question for the Discord. What were some of the biggest commitment issues that you've had to overcome, if you've overcome them? And what was a turning point if you decided to be with someone or not be with someone? You decided to make that long commitment, or you decided to end and make a commitment to yourself. What was that turning point for you?
It's a great question. I would like to thank our Patreon and all of our great supporters out there. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are just helping this young Black-owned business to continue to grow and to get better and better and better. Thank you guys so much for listening, giving us your ears and your hearts, and allowing us to be a part of your lives with every single episode. We thank you.
Thank you very much. And if you want to continue in this conversation outside of here, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at Have a Drinkcast, and make sure you use the hashtag HatCast. That way we can find out anything that you post. You know, we can find it anywhere. We can see what it is. You know, if you want to share any of your if you want to share any of your like old, like, ooh, I shouldn't have committed to that pictures, or you know, if you want to show pictures and you know, post a picture of you and a loved one or loved ones that you decide to make a deep commitment to, you know, we would love to see those. Just make sure to use the hashtag HatCast. That way we can see it.
I'd like to give a shout out to all of those that are listening out there in Vietnam. It's pretty cool to find out that we've touched the land of Vietnam, and all of our international viewers out there. It's really awesome. Man, we would love to find out where you guys are all from and what your community is like. So please hit us up with hashtag HatCast so we can find out. You know, I'd like to do something really cool. Let's just do like a little video, you know, a short little thing, or even just a post, you know, just let us know. Don't forget, add that hashtag HatCast, HADCAST. All right. And then also, I got to show you guys something. You ready? This is the first reveal for everybody.
Oh, wait. Oh, look at that. For those of you listening at home, Omega has a lightsaber tattooed on his inside of his middle finger. Hey. Whose lightsaber? Mace Windu's.
There you go.
Excuse you trying to test I'm the nerd here, trying to test my nerdy knowledge.
I got you. Nah, but yeah, my daughter, she actually has the Darth Vader lightsaber tattooed on her inner finger as well. And we were at the Star Wars Resistance in LA. That's where we were. We got on that ride. I rode it twice. But anyways, and it was just amazing. And I was like in the line, I was like, I'm gonna get a lightsaber tattoo too. She's like, yeah, right, whatever, Dad. Mom didn't even get hers, and she said she was gonna get a tattoo. I was like, I'm not your mama. And she's like, yeah, right, whatever. Well, I just surprised her on Friday with this, and she was like, shocked. So yeah, so we took a picture together, and yeah, this is my lightsaber tattoo, Mace Windu's lightsaber. So my daughter and I have matching tattoos.
Very sweet. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, my kid loved it. She was like, she even posted up, you know, my dad's cooler than yours.
Oh,
lightsabers in her post. I was like, it's pretty cool.
I love that. Very sweet.
That's my babish. It's about that time.
It's about that time?
Because I am tired.
All right, raise those glasses. All right, kings, queens, and royals in between. We want to thank y'all for joining us again on another successful episode of the Have a Drink podcast, and we invite y'all back to sit, think, and have a drink. That's been us. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, yes.